Greetings, Guardians! The Hijab the Gamer here, and this is the second time I'm making this video because I, by mistake, hit the spacebar and stopped recording. Anyway, sorry for the delay. As I said, because of my work hours, I need to be at work very early, and it's really difficult for me to make long videos in the morning. I can, if you want me to, make the reset video early Tuesday morning. However, I would not have the challenge of the elders bosses. And I feel like that video would be missing something if I cannot give you who the bosses are. So let me know down in the comments, what would you prefer? For me to do a reset video early in the morning and then come back, solo challenge of the elders, and you can see the bosses? Or do you want me to wait until I get home from work, solo challenge of the elders, post that, and then post a reset video with who those bosses are? I also will be making a legendary weapon video, and I'm trying to get the time to do the legendary arbor video. They take a while to make, and it is a holiday season, which is a very busy time for me, or it's getting close to the holiday season, so we're now in the preparing for it mode, and things get kind of busy. Now, this week in Original Destiny, the first Destiny, look, I do play Destiny 2, not as much, but I'll admit I prefer Original Destiny. Anyway, that aside, what do we have for this week? We have, first off, zone control for Crucible. So I actually do like zone control. I don't think it's very good at tactical exercise in reinforcing and defending acquired territory, but I do like it. Some people disagree with me and say, yeah, it's great. It's a great exercise in tactical and reinforcing whatever, but I still like it. So don't think I like zone control is one of my favorites. It's 6v6. Hopefully you'll be able to get a match going. I have noticed there are more people playing Original Destiny, and I think as the season gets later and later for Destiny 2, more people come to Original Destiny. I do see also a lot of new people in Destiny, so you may find a match. Also, just a reminder, private matches are still a thing, and not just for whatever's going on. I mean, you could basically create whatever you want, but as I like to remind people, you can do private matches, SPARROW Racing League. Excuse me? It doesn't look like you can, but you can. You see, if you look here, it says it doesn't look like it's an option. Just click on it, and then you have to, the reason it doesn't look like an option is because the default map is not a SPARROW Racing League map. So then you have to change the map to something that's SPARROW Racing. And then you can choose lap counts, time of day, etc., etc. But you can still do SPARROW Racing League in Original Destiny with private matches. So, or Crucible or whatever you want. That's great. I like SPARROW Racing League. I wish they would bring it back more often. Even though I'm not very good at it. I'll admit I'm very bad at racing games. So anyway, for doing the Crucible, the weekly Crucible, you will get a Treasure of Ages box and legendary marks. Now, also correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, because I remember hearing rumor that if you complete Crucible bounties, you can get Trials weapons from Shacks. It's random, it doesn't happen often, but my understanding is you could get Trials weapons from Shacks. Let me know in the comments below if I'm right or wrong. I'm not 100% sure about this, okay? Next, we have the weekly story playlist, which is one of my favorite things in Destiny, and I wish they would bring more story missions back to Destiny 2. I mean, putting aside the fact that you could simply pick any mission you want on the map, which I love, you have the weekly story playlist, which is also a great way to farm legendary marks. This week we have, because Mars and Venus, which are the second set of campaign missions in Destiny. So these are the ones that take place on Mars and Venus. The modifiers are heroic, enemies appear in greater numbers and are more aggressive because you're coming at them again, and they're pissed. Then you have match game. Enemy shields are resistant to all unmatched elemental damage, which is why one of the great things to pick up is something like Zalo Supercell, because that will give you the ability to have 3 different elemental types carried at the same time. If you equip Zalo here, that's an arc, so all you need is a void and a solar in these 2 spots. Zalo has come up, and I've always recommended people pick it up. And then you have airborne. Players deal more damage while in the air. Now, I always like to remind people, don't forget, you can only carry 200 legendary marks. Once you reach 200, even if you earn them, you will not get them. Also, another way to get legendary marks is to do a public event. The first public event you do each day at a gold tier, you will earn 15 legendary marks. And I've noticed it myself, it does work. The first one you do, but again, it has to be gold tier and it's only once a day. Unless, I mean, as my understanding is once a day, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If I'm wrong at something, I always want to know, please correct me. But my understanding is once a day you get 15 legendary marks to do a public event. All right, so those are the story playlists. Like I said, you get, it's a great way to farm legendary marks because you get a Treasure of Ages box and over 100 legendary marks. Each time you run it for the first 5 times, you'll get between 20 and 35 legendary marks, which is a great way. Then you can spend those legendary marks on those wonderful legendary weapons that I will give you the rundown from the factions. So see what they've got this week. I probably will do that video tomorrow because it takes like an hour to go through that video. And I am still wanting to try and do armor rolls. Anyway, next we have the SIVA Crisis Heroic Strike playlist. Maybe it's just me, personally. I like the strikes more in Original Destiny than Destiny 2. But that's subjective, each to their own. I like these strikes a lot. Except the Ogre and the Priest. Whoa. So we got Heroic, enemies appear in greater numbers and are more aggressive. Then we have Chaff, player radar is disabled. You have Airborne, players deal more damage while in the air. And finally, Catapult, grenade recharge rate is greatly increased. I have noticed that every time I do these, I am actually matched with other players. I didn't expect that. There was a time when you didn't get matched. Now, every single time, I'm either dropped in with other people or immediately started with people, or after a couple of minutes, more people joined me. So, yeah, even at one point I was running a strike and I was like a level 12 hunter and I didn't even do the SIVA Crisis Heroic. I was doing a strike, I think it was Omnigul, from the map. And I started by myself. And within 5 minutes, I had 2 more people with me and we were going through it. I mean, I've noticed, I've been to Archon's Forge and there were people in Archon's Forge. So I haven't been to the Court of Oryx, but when I did a couple weeks back, there were people in the Court of Oryx. I think the last time I was there were 2 people. So there are people playing Destiny, and there are new people coming into Destiny, and I'm always recommending it. I think it's a great game even for the price, even without the updates. So SIVA Crisis Heroic, great way to farm legendary marks. You will find other people. All right, next we have the weekly Nightfall Strike. The weekly Nightfall Strike is the one on Venus. I remember soloing this one, actually. It's the one with the Archon Priest. So it's the Winter's one. As the Vex march to claim the Ishtar Sink, the fallen House of Winter is raising a powerful Archon stolen from the Prison of Elders in the Reef. Find the Archon before they fully restore his soul. So this is the one that starts on Venus, and you go into the cave. Then after you come out of the cave, and you're like on top of a cliff, and you're shooting everything from the cliff. Then you go down a run. That's why I think it's called Winter's Run. First time I soloed this, I got that shotgun that works in your primary slot, the exotic shotgun. I cannot remember what it's called right now, but I know it. Like, if I see it or if I hear the name, I would know it. But right now my brain is freezing on it. That's when I got that. That was one of the first times I ever got an exotic drop. It was awesome, other than from Xur. And yeah, he's not that bad. Anyway, the modifiers for the Nightfall are, you're going to have epic, heavily shielded, and highly aggressive enemies appear in greater numbers. Then you have small arms, so primary weapon damage is favored, my personal favorite. Then we have Chaff, player radar is disabled, which honestly I think is a bigger hindrance in Crucible, if this were a thing in Crucible. Though I'm trying to remember, did I actually rely for a short time on my radar while doing it? I don't think so, but it's been a very long time. I just remember getting that shotgun, and going into the Dreadnought and trying it out. And then we have Match Game. Enemy shields are resistant to all unmatched elemental damage. I would say go with for Zalo, except I also see that we have Exposure. Guardian shields are increased but do not replenish. So it is a toss-up between Zalo Supercell, so you can have multiple elemental types, and Red Death, which has been coming up with Xur lately a few times. If you haven't picked it up, I did say pick up Red Death. Red Death is great because each kill heals you and speeds up reload. So Exposure does not work when you have Red Death. Your health, well, it works. And if you don't kill anything with Red Death, your health will not regenerate. But if you use Red Death and you kill enemies, your health will regenerate. So it's great to have Red Death for instances of exposure. And you add the fact that primary weapon damage is favored, and that's kind of really good. Now, I always like to remind people to pick up the bounties from Zavala. You have to go to Zavala to pick up the 3 weekly bounties. They're not on the bounty board. There are other bounties for the Nightfall on the bounty board. But the 3 with Zavala, you have to go to him specifically to pick them up. Okay? So that's the Vanguard Nightfall. Next we have the Challenge of the Elders, which I did solo. And you can see my video earlier where I did solo it. Took me about an hour. The modifiers are Catapult, grenade recharge rate is greatly increased. Fresh troops, some enemy squads have been fortified with additional reinforcements. And oh, yes, they have been reinforced. Yes. And then we have grenade kill bonus. Boy, have they been reinforced. Yeah, especially the second boss. So the first boss is Taken Hive. Psylocke the Defiled thirsts for your light, aka the large Taken Knight in the middle. And then every round of reinforcements, he has his 2 Hive wizards, his girlfriends, his sister wives who fart and screech. Ooh, honestly, I feel like I've been put on a contract by Psylocke to eliminate all his brides, but who knows? Anyway, him with the flames that last forever. Yeah, it was a little rough, but just keep in mind there's a lot of additional reinforcements. The second is Taken Cabal. Noruisk, Servant of Oryx. And this one is rough. I'm going to be running it again because I want to get a better score and I want to improve at this, because this, I find that after I do Challenge of the Elders, my gameplay and everything else improves because you have to be fast on your feet. And this one is rough because you're dealing with the Scions jumping all over the place. You're dealing with the Axiom darts and he is throwing them a lot. It's almost like part of the additional reinforcements are the Axiom darts. And then you have the Phalanxes with their shields that you, unlike in Destiny 2, you cannot shoot through them. So yeah, it is rough. And finally, the third boss is almost like it's a reward with additional reinforcements, but it is like a reward. You managed to make it this far, now have some fun. It's Fallen. Pilot Servitor of a War-wrecked Fallen Ketch. Piece of cake. A lot of fun. I died once because they got me with their swords, and I wasn't really on top of things. I kind of like relaxed. I was like, yeah, this is a piece of cake. Don't gotta take it seriously, and they cornered me. Keep in mind, some of these vandals, some of these additional reinforcements do have trace rifles. So usually, maybe it's just me, but I don't seem to remember so many trace rifle vandals while doing Pilot Servitor of a War-wrecked Fallen Ketch. One trick, though, I did notice while doing it, when it comes to the points, for hunters. All right, I'm always posting or just talking about Knife Juggler, which precision kills with throwing knife immediately reset its cooldown. When you get kills with your throwing knife, precision kills with the throwing knife count as a precision kill and a melee kill. And I noticed while running Challenge of the Elders that the amount of points you get for knife throw precision kills is the same as you get for the bonus grenade kills. You get 80 points the first round and 160 the second. And I don't remember, I think it was 240 for the third. You get the same amount using your throwing knife, but it has to be a precision kill. And then if you have Knife Juggler, every precision kill will immediately reset the cooldown on your throwing knife. This means if you are constantly throwing precision kills with your knife, you can just keep going and going and going until you miss. Keep in mind, shanks with the Fallen do not count as precision kills. So don't waste your time with your throwing knife on shanks. And I was surprised to see that the points, I think it's like 35 and 45, which comes up to 80. And that's the same as the grenade kill bonus. So between grenade kills, go for your throwing knife. And just be aware, it's rough. Yeah. It was really, really rough, but it was fun too. I love challenging Destiny. I love it when Destiny's just hard. Yeah. Anyway, next, so that's Challenge of the Elders. Keep in mind your goal in Challenge of the Elders, just a reminder, on your card, you're supposed to get 30,000 points as a high score. If you do, Varix will give you a weapon, and you need a cumulative score, so a total, run it a couple of times, of 90,000. Don't forget, like I always forget, I'm constantly forgetting, House of Judgment reputation boosters. You can pick those up from the Silver Dust store in the Tower or the Reef or the Iron Temple. I am constantly forgetting to use them. It gives you, you know, a boost for your fire team for 2 hours. I did manage to go up a level with him, so I'm now rank 20. Anyway, that is Challenge of the Elders. Again, it was fun. It was rough and frustrating, but it was I think this was more fun than I've had in Destiny. And then finally for the raid, you have the Heroic Vosic Challenge and Axis Challenge. That means it's Wrath of the Machine. I really like Wrath of the Machine. It's been a while. I don't remember most of it. But Wrath of the Machine is one of my favorite raids. And it's the raid you need to do it twice to get Outbreak Prime. Anyway, this is your weekly update for Destiny, Original Destiny. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with other Destiny players, and I hope to see you in the tower.